He was on the What Chaos podcast with DJ and Pete Blackburn, and that's his assessment of Marco Sturm. He acts as if the players are all his kids. Great. That's great because
special.
No. Listen, there's nothing more important than your mental health and your family, and there's nothing more important than you being in the right spot. And listen, this is the world we live in. So come on, kids, gather around, shall we? And the Bruins have a new coach, and this is where we will begin. It's Mazz alongside Mark Dondero in for Big Jim Murray in our update studio. Hi, Mark.
How's it going, fellas?
Good, you?
Do you have any leadoff thoughts, Mazz, on the hiring?
Unspectacular.
Okay, thank you.
Really, how could anybody possibly feel excitement over this? There's no way to know what this guy is, how it's going to go. Like what I couldn't even tell you what his personality is. I don't remember much of him talking when he was with the Bruins. Maybe I should, but I don't. I can't even begin to tell you. I'm so sort of, to me, it's one big loaf of bread, a plate of white rice, or you call it whatever you want. It's as bland as it gets.
I don't know how you could be excited about it. I don't know how you could have faith in it, other than you just want to. I mean, there's like himself. Who knows? Who cares?
Yeah, I'm not telling you he might be good. I'm just telling you there's no way to know.
No way to know. No track record to draw from. You've got to pull commentary from play-by-play guys in L.A. to tell you what kind of guy, CEO, coach, to treat the players like his kids. Okay, yeah, whatever. I mean, so it's hard for me to give you a thought on him. I don't really care. I told you. I don't care who the new coach is. As long as we're talking about this pool of guys they were looking at, these first-time coaches, not much of a track record. There's not much I can do and go back and look at their previous stints on this team or that team where they won at a high level or effed up at a high level. So there's nothing I can give you. There's no way to handicap this guy here from the outside. No way. They're not even going to try. If you want to, go ahead. Fine. 617-779-0985. To me, it speaks more of the team. And, well, so here's a couple of things. Why would he take this job? Why would anyone want this job? Dondero, would you want this job?
Yes.
Why?
I think it'd be cool to coach in the NHL.
Yeah, there it is.
But that's basically it.
No, there it is. Well said.
Yeah, that's basically it. That's his whole reason to take the job, that he's an entry-level coach.
There's no one else would hire him?
Well, that, and also they maybe couldn't hire anyone else. Like, I sort of think that one could go both ways.
Oh, yeah. So, both those things. No, he didn't have a job anywhere else, and they didn't have any other candidates who would take their job.
Bingo. So, look, like we talk all the time about entry-level jobs in life, right? Okay, you're going to start on the first floor. I think that's what this thing is. I think it's an entry-level job for Marco Sturm, basically, as far as the head coaching, area goes. Like this is now, the Bruins are now an entry-level head coaching job in the NHL. That's what it is.
Okay, and you say that because I think the best thing you can say about this place is that it's a good stepping stone. The last three coaches, as I'm just eyeballing it, yes, the last three coaches landed on their feet immediately somewhere else with great contracts. One of them had a great level of success in Bruce Cassidy. He won a Stanley Cup. One fell on his face, which was Claude Julien. Not surprisingly, I don't think he was much of a coach. But that doesn't mean he didn't land on his feet. He got a 5-year big deal in Montreal.
Yeah, he did.
And Cassidy got a big, fat deal in Vegas and won at a high level. Montgomery had a big, fat deal waiting for him in St. Louis and immediately went to the playoffs. So this is a nice stepping stone.
Right, it's a resume builder.
So that's the one thing I would say. You've got to get fired first. You're going to have to go through that whole thing. You have to move everybody out here. You're going to have to bust your ass. You're going to have to succeed, get as most as you can out of the talent, just to get blamed at the end when you can't beat anyone in the playoffs other than the Leafs, and then you're out the door. But based on recent track record, the next one's going to be nice, tasty. So congratulations, we're the Manchester Fisher Cats. Something along that. That's the only thing I get. Why else would you take the job? You're going to be handed a middling roster. And listen, I say that. It's obviously a great city to live in and a great hockey market. It is. And I think that's a draw for a lot of people. So you're not stuck in San Jose or some place where it just doesn't matter. And I'll give you that, but I don't give the Bruins any credit for that.
No, it's a better deal for Sturm than it is for the Bruins.
I guess. Yeah, it is. Yes, it is.
He's never coached before, right? It's an opportunity to get his foot in the league as a head coach.
Oh, but it's an original six franchise. Who cares? Does anyone care about that crap anymore?
No.
I mean, Jesus. You throw original six franchise, so what? Would you rather be the Florida Panthers?
Yes.
Or the Edmonton Oilers from the WHL? Or wherever? It's just such overrated trash to say original six. Like, who? Like, please. So why would he take the job? Because I guess there are worse places to work, worse cities to be in, and it's a good stepping stone. Other than that, it's not for the roster. It's not for the security. It sure as hell ain't for the contract, I think. I mean, which ties to my second question. Why do you think it took so long? Why do you think they were the last team to sign a coach?
Good question.
Do you want to guess, Dundero?
Well, I think part of it was a lack of interest around the people that they would have liked to have had interest. I don't know how that can't be the case based on the way Don Sweeney has fired coaches and the indecision. And I thought Don Sweeney kind of reached the end of the line when he fired Jim Montgomery the way he fired him. Yeah.
So that's that you're not a desirable destination.
Correct.
It took you this long to find someone reasonable who would take the job.
Right.
It's hard for me not to look at the money. So, first-time head coach, inexperienced guy, last guy on the board. I don't know, but I'm going to have to guess that he had the lowest contract of anyone signed. That if you go last, especially when you consider who is second to last, but you go last and it's like, okay, would you put it past them for them to say, well, what's the lowest salary out there? What was the lowest contract negotiated this summer? You slot in right behind them. And they were waiting for all that dust. They were waiting to see what seventh place was before they slotted him in eighth place.
Yeah, something like that.
Especially when you consider who went seventh. John Henry and the Pittsburgh Penguins. It was like a stare down. Who's going to get the cheapest guy? Like, I don't know this, but from the outside, I don't know it. But from the outside, how do you not think that way? Like, don't you think they've earned that skepticism?
Of course they've earned that skepticism, yes. And the other thing is, you're bringing in a guy who has zero credentials in terms of head coaching experience. So the number one thing you always say with a head coach is, where's he been and what's he done? Who is he? What kind of clout does he have? So as soon as you go into this area, unless it is somebody who is some off the grid, like out of this world prospect that everybody's been talking about as the next great coach in the league, you're not going to get a lot of money. I mean, that guy's going to come in at the bottom of the pay scale. And so again, entry level as far as head coaches go. So, to me, this is clearly, I think they were in that market. I'm not sure anyone else would have taken the job to begin with. There's a lot of reasons to look at this thing and say, think of how their brand has fallen. That this is now what they are, left to, that they couldn't get someone with some sort of resume and credentials to come in and take the job because they don't, they just don't have the clout right now.
Don Cherry, Fred Creighton, Jerry Cheevers, Butch Goring, Terry O'Reilly, Mike Milbury, Rick Bowness, Brian Sutter, Steve Casper, Pat Burns, Mike Keenan, Robbie Fatorik, Mike O'Connell, Mike Sullivan, Dave Lewis, Claude Julien, Bruce Cassidy, Jim Montgomery, Joe Sacco. I was only counting, is that 14 or 19? Those are the coaches since the Jacobs took over, and
Sacco was an interim, right?
And I'm going to add Harry Sinden on the list because there were a bunch of times there where Harry Sinden fired the coach and came down and coached himself. Same with Mike O'Connell. I just read Mike O'Connell. He came down and coached the end of one season as well. So there's a little bit of a track record of the GM here as opposed to just finger-futzing the coach from the balcony and bitching about the coach to the media and the owner. Actually decided to go down and do something about it. But otherwise, it's called Bruin. I mean, this is what they do. They just rifle through coaches. And I don't care how they try and explain it away, which they did in this last press conference. It is what they are known for.
But Mike, as you go through those names.
And they all won. For the most part, they all won. Go ahead.
But wouldn't you say that the large majority of those names at least have some, familiarity, if nothing else? I said majority, not all. Okay, so the outliers are Dave Lewis. That was a freaking disaster.
Yeah.
Did that guy ever get another head coaching job anywhere?
Oh God, no.
I don't think he did. And that was his first head coaching job, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the first kind of rookie head coach that they've had since Lewis. That was a freaking disaster. It was a complete mess. But a lot of those other guys, say what you will, whether they were good coaches or bad coaches, there was at least some sort of name recognition or some clout, some history in the league. Sutter, Burns, guys like that you're talking about. This one is as close to zero as you could get for the Bruins. Don't you think?
It doesn't move the needle one bit.
I mean, really, when you rifle through those names, I can at least tell you who those people were, and they had some time in the league, and they had coached somewhere else. Even if you start talking about, Casper was a disaster too, but you get the idea.
Sure.
Milbury, even Cheevers. Like, at least you could say, okay, there's some juice there. I get it. This?
Juiceless.
It's a dry lemon is what it is. It is. It's a dry orange. It's like a piece of fruit that is shriveled up.
So let's discuss. And we can wrap that into the current state of the Bruins. Thoughts on the Stanley Cup final. We'll talk about a bunch of different things, but this happened this afternoon, so we will lead with it and get your thoughts.
If you like that clip, check out more videos from Felger and Mazz here. For more Bruins analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.